Hello, Mech Warriors. Today, I wanted to introduce you to the Samantha. This is the Ebon Jaguar that you get with the Icons pack. You're getting a bunch of clan mechs, like an Atlas and an Ebon Jag, obviously, a Battle Master, and you're also getting a Awesome. But what makes this mech awesome is not the name. It's the fact that this Ebon Jaguar comes with 3 missile points in the right torso. Now, it looks like it's not 3 missile points in the right torso. It actually is. So if you lose the right torso on this, these 3 missile points, including the one that's on the left side, disappear. It's just the way that they came out with doing this, I guess, and it kind of makes sense, but it also looks really cool. But when I saw this, the first thing I thought was, oh my, I can do 6 missile points on an Ebon Jaguar. That's nuts, and I still have a pair of ballistic weapons that I could do with it as well. Now, the original build has a small laser, a UAC-20, a PPC, and 3 LRM-10s. The small laser, I'm really not exactly sure why that's there. It doesn't seem to serve any real purpose with these weapons in line because it doesn't even have the same ranges as any of these weapons here. And definitely not the same as the LRMs. So I feel like they just kind of put that on there to put it on there. I think it would have been better suited as being a tag laser. But anyway, we're going to check out the build. And as you can see, I've customized this one up a little bit. And I think it looks pretty nifty. I really like this paint pattern. Kind of reminds me of somewhere between a fish or maybe a snake scales or something. But you can definitely customize this up. But let me show you the build. So as I mentioned, the original build has 3 LRM-10s. And one of them ends up looking like it's flanking over on the left side. It's just the way it looks, essentially. It actually fires that way as well. So we have 2 tons of ammo for 3 LRM-10s. Let that sink in a little bit. Okay, good. We also have 2 tons of ammo for a UAC-20. That's also really bad as well. We also have the small laser I mentioned and the PPC. And the heat management on this is 1.28. Their firepower is given as 65, which is not terrible, but it's also kind of lacking, I feel, especially considering what this thing is so capable of doing. And then for the armor, there's 8 missing from each one of the torsos, or each one of the arms, excuse me, and there's 22 missing from each one of the legs as well. Now, the original also had like 10 armor in the rear, which it just doesn't settle well with me. I think it was 15 in the rear for the center torso. That also doesn't set well with me, so I adjusted it the way I wanted it to be, which is the way this is here. And when you go in and take a look at the quirks for this, we're getting a chassis C build bonus of plus 30, XP bonus of plus 2.5, yay. We're getting a clan UAC jam chance reduction of minus 100%. So basically these things never jam, which means 2 tons of ammo isn't going to last very long. Energy range, we're getting plus 5%. Velocity, we're getting plus 10%. And ballistic velocity, we're getting an additional 15%. So that's actually on the ballistics, it's actually 25%. And then we're getting an overall spread, which I can only assume has to do with the missiles reduction of 25%. Survival, typical things you would see on a clan mech, you know, center torso plus 10, left and right torso plus 10, left and right arms plus 10, and legs left and right are you're getting plus 7. And that's the way this comes. This is completely unskilled, and this is the way it basically sits in this configuration. Let's move on to a better configuration. But first, let's have a match. Samantha build.
Oh,
Reactor online.
I brought a
Sensors
worm
online.
catapult, but
Weapons
I'll
online.
be not hanging the back.
Excellent.
All systems
Catapults are wonderful.
nominal.
He doesn't understand the range of missiles, apparently.
Eagle in the hard way.
Bravo's rethinking his life choices.
Basement's clear.
It looks like most of them are standing up on the wall.
Excellent.
Oh, those sweet summer children.
That means we only have to get rid of the guys that are in the circle.
New
I
target
got a
acquired.
assault low.
New target acquired. Warning, incoming missile.
Yeah, one of them just dropped in the basement.
I think somebody just shot me from Delta 3. Yeah, there's somebody on the wall between Delta 3 and Charlie 3.
New
Never mind, they're all
target
coming to the basement
acquired.
now.
Warning, incoming missile.
I got a few up
Left
here,
leg
Dragon and
critical
friends.
damage.
It's got to be better than being upstairs. I'm going downstairs.
One light.
New target
I was mistaken.
acquired. New target acquired. Critical. Left torso. Damage.
Too much for that guy.
Left torso.
Nobody kills you better than you. But first kill on this mech. Well, after that match, you get the basic idea that this build is capable of a lot, but you also have to use it sparingly. I was able to get a kill really quickly in the match, and then I was also capable of blowing myself up, but somebody fortunately took me out of my misery before I was able to do that. Let's go back to the mech lab. So back here in the mech lab, you can see this is the original build, but I have a better build. Let's go to the hybrid. So Ginger Steel has really pushed this into my head in a big way with going with running LRMs and ATMs together. It's something I really wouldn't have done even months ago, but now I'm doing it fairly often in a lot of my builds, including a Rifleman 2C that I've been working on. So what I've done here is I've got 4 of the ATM 3s. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 2 heavy machine guns with ammo for each one. So if I lose one of the arms or a torso, I'm not dependent on that. The ammo is right out on the arm. And then I've also got a pair of LRM-15s. So the benefit that the LRM-15s give me is that if somebody's on the other side of a hill from me, or somebody on my team is targeting somebody, I can get those missiles across and over the top of a hill or a building and be able to shoot. ATMs are more of a direct fire weapon, so the ATMs are going to fire more of in a straight line, a little bit of indirect fire, but generally they're kind of like a guided munition, almost like an LBX with guidance. And then of course the heavy machine guns are going to help me with that close quarters battling. So I have 3 overlapping ranges of fire here. So the heavy machine guns are going to help me from 0 to 120 meters. I don't like to think in max terms because at maximum range these things aren't going to do anything, hardly at all. So I've got 0 to 120 meters of range here. And then the next overlapping, I have 60 meters all the way up to 300 meters. And that's where these things really shine, is they actually do 8 damage in that 60 meter to 300 meter range. And then my LRMs are going to pick up at roughly right around 180 meters and carry me out to the 900 meters, and that's unskilled. When you skill these out and you skill out the range, you're going to get a little bit better range there. In addition, the ATMs are going to be able to spread out and go all the way out to 1100 meters long after the LRMs. But once again, the LRMs have that indirect fire where they go up and over targets a lot better. So that makes that kind of a really good build in the fact that I can really reach out and touch people at short range and long range, and I have really good defensive capability, and also have really good offensive capability. So I can reach way out at longer distances, mid-range distances, and at close quarters. That makes for a different build. Now you remember the original heat management was given as 1.28, and the firepower was 65. The firepower on this says 68, excuse me. But it's actually quite a bit better. In close quarters, these don't do 6 damage, they do 8 damage. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8 more damage on top of the 68, giving us a total of 76. So we actually have a firepower of 76 if you're basing it on closer ranges, all the way out to 300 meters. And that would include these because these have a range of 180 all the way up to 900. So we're going to have some overlapping field of fire there as well. So the problem with that, though, is that these only have a range of 120 meters. So there's kind of a mix mash of overlapping. And of course you can fix that by putting light machine guns on here, but they're not going to do as much damage as they did as the heavy machine guns do. So it's kind of a working process, but essentially what it works out to is you get really good defensive capabilities and really good long range and indirect fire capabilities. And that's where that comes out. So the heat management was 1.28, now it's 1.79. We're doing better firepower. Speed is the same. We're not taking advantage of that UAC jam chance capability, but now we have a missile cooldown of 7.5%, missile heat generation of -10%, cooldown of 5%, which is actually 12.5% cooldown now on the missiles alone, and then we're getting a velocity of 20%. And as far as the overall armor goes, nothing's really changed in that regards for the quirks. So here's what the mech looks like unskilled. And as you can see, I've unlocked some of these features already, and I'm just going to go ahead and import that code, which the code will be in the description as well. Now when you put in the skills, let me show you what you're doing is what I recommend doing anyways. Cooldown maxed out. 3 points into heat generation just for protection. Velocity. Almost everything here, it really benefits from velocity. Machine guns are going to get velocity boosts. They already have plenty of ammo, so there's no reason for that there. The missiles, ATM and LRM, are going to benefit from that. Missile racks. Additional ammo for each one of the systems. Tighter spread for each one of the systems. Higher explosive, definitely for each one of the systems. We have skeletal density, armor hardening, reinforced casing, all maxed out. No reason for overheat damage because this thing really honestly doesn't get all that hot. I mean, sometimes you can get it really pushed if you really push the weapon systems, but most of the time it's going to stay pretty cool. We have cool run heat containment. Radar deprivation we don't have, but we do have seismic sensor and sensor range boosts, and of course target decay specifically for the LRM-15s. And that's so that when somebody goes into cover, you're going to be able to retain that lock a little bit longer and be able to get those missiles on target a little bit better. And then what I'm actually running is 1 UAV and 2 artillery strikes. So that's really going to help out in that regard there. Getting the heat management under control really means that you don't have to run cool shots as much, you don't have to worry about overheating as much, and it's because this mech is actually so cool, our override is kind of an optional feature here.
Acquired.
Right? Okay. What killed him?
You're out of control. You're like worse than a toddler.
Yeah, because you can't
New
understand them.
target
You're look to your
acquired.
left, or your right, I mean, look to your right.
Kill him, kill him. Okay, you two, happy dropping. I'll catch you guys later.
See you later.
Warning, incoming missile.
Hi.
Shoot your back up. There's an RD straight coming in there.
Warning,
You're gonna
incoming
get killed.
missile.
Come back, come back.
New target acquired. Warning.
Yeah, you need to get out of
Damage.
there. Come back over where I'm at.
Warning. Incoming. Missile
Fine.
Over you are.
strike online.
Oh. Thank you, 7A.
New target acquired.
Target spotted.
New target acquired.
Delta's right leg is open.
New target acquired. New target acquired.
Get him, Argent. Oh, that mad dog's not gonna last long.
Artillery strike online. Target destroyed. New target acquired. Shutdown. Torso critical damage. Artillery strike online. Warning incoming missile. Loadout shutdown. Target destroyed. New target acquired. Alpine at 25%. New target acquired. Heat level critical. Destroyed. Center torso.
I overcooked myself. But I did 1,041 damage.
We're done.
Good job, guys.
GG.
GG indeed.
I don't know how I did. But I'll find out. 396, and I had 1 kill, 7 assists,
I only had 1 kill too.
spotting assist, 2 components destroyed, 1 savior kill.
And we had a disconnect on our team too.
Let's see how you did. Wow, look at that. You
I
got
got
over
beat by
1,000.
1 point, and it was the king crab I was rolling with.
Yeah. Good job. I want to get 1,000.
You got pretty close to it the other day, 900.
Yeah. No.
In conclusion, this is a really nice build because it really leverages the capabilities that you can build with this mech, and because it gets those 3 missile points out on the right torso, you really can build this into a very fun build. I'm so excited about this, and I'm excited to have even more matches with this build. And the first really good match I had out of it, bam, you know, I did over 1,000 damage. I was really excited about that, and so was the rest of my team. People were asking me about the build, and now I have a build review so they can check it out, and so can you.